everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a bit more personal. I'm going to be talking about 10 things I hate about being autistic. I would like to show everyone that autism isn't all cute quirks and superpowers. There's more to it that affects day-to-day living and unfortunately makes things a bit harder than they need to for both the individual and their peers. Before we get into my list though, let me give you a little backstory on my experience with autism. Autism affects everyone in different ways, but this is how it affects me. When I was 17 years old, I was diagnosed with Aspergers syndrome, which we call high-functioning autism nowadays. But when I was a child, I was always the weird kid. I would often get teased for scripting my favorite characters on the playground, meaning I'd jump around like Mario or run like Sonic, and always talking about them, or just because kids are mean. My teachers were always trying to encourage me to be more creative with some of my assignments because I was able to fit my special interests into almost any homework assignment they would give me. Everything from essays to art projects. They also assumed that I wasn't trying though, and I would often get punished for not turning in assignments, and I spent a lot of time alone because of that. But it's not like I was missing much though, as I didn't have many friends. Things picked up as I got a bit older and moved into middle and high school. I had more friends than I did as a kid, but I had a difficult time connecting with them. I was still an outsider. The emotional growing pains I felt were only amplified because of autism, and I had no idea at the time. I often describe my high school years as my Shadow the Hedgehog phase because I was very much the edgelord of the group, saying things like, "Who am I? What's my purpose? I don't understand these damn humans. Maria." Once I finally got my diagnosis, it was a massive weight off my shoulders. Everything finally made sense. I could finally focus my questions to be more specific. Since then, I've been very invested in my mental health, and I've done a lot of research to better understand the ins and outs of my diagnosis. So now that you know a bit about me and my connection to autism, let's finally talk about the 10 things I hate about being autistic. Number 1 is not being able to read people's intentions. I think everyone knows that people in the spectrum have a hard time reading people in general. But a specific part of that is not being able to read a person's intentions. The reason I hate this is because it makes me so gullible and vulnerable to things that I can only presume would be obvious to others. Examples being anything from not knowing if a person is playfully teasing me or trying to curse me out. Knowing this makes me both anxious and upset. Now, I know you could just ask, "Hey, what did you mean by that?" But that question is a gamble with people you aren't already familiar with. It could be the thing that stirs the pot, or at the very least, it's just annoying to ask. And after being the annoying kid for so long, that's the last thing I want to be. Number 2 is not being able to hang out in large groups. I hate this for many reasons. The first being that it's very limiting and puts me into a tough decision. Do you want to go to the event and be in pain, or miss out on what could be a really great experience? If I do find myself at an event with a large group, whether it be friends or something like a convention, I'm so overwhelmed that I just end up shutting down. It's difficult to keep up with the myriad of different conversations that I can't fully read, and the quick pace that a lot of conversations with groups like this have. And this isn't even mentioning all the physical stimuli like sound, movement, and so on. Trying to juggle that many personalities is a lot on a mind that struggles in that area. My personal limit is about 3 other people before things become difficult. After that, I just end up being silent. But then there's the guilt of shutting down. Some people will say they want to participate more. Friends may just be concerned. I'm upset that the moment is passing by me, but I can't seem to shake the mental paralysis off. It sucks. Which, on that note, number 3, I hate that I get overstimulated by normal things. Now I know that normal can be subjective at times, but I mean it in a general type of sense. I recently had to go to 2 graduations for my cousins, and I think my experience with this illustrates my points well. Graduation season is a time of celebration. It's a time to show just how excited and happy and proud you are of the graduate. I do wish I could properly express those emotions because they are certainly there. However, they're suppressed by the overstimulation of loud cheering and air horns and people talking over each other and large crowds of people in all directions. All this overstimulation causes a shutdown for me, and it almost feels like I'm being grounded to my mind, trapped within myself. It's exhausting. once I'm finally home, I feel relief and that happiness is finally able to flow out, but the moment has passed. It doesn't hold the same weight anymore. In some instances, you can maybe text someone afterwards to share with them how you felt and reassure them that you did have a good time, you care, etc., but you were simply overwhelmed by the situation. I often feel bad that the only way I can express what I feel is behind a screen. I wish I could just do everything in the moment like everyone else and not have this guilty feeling. Moving on to number 4. I hate being so logical all the time. I feel like it hinders me from being the cool, spontaneous person that I see inside myself, meaning I didn't take a lot of risks when I was younger. And it hinders me creatively. An example of this is the creation of this video. This video was incredibly difficult to write because why, logically, should I even bother writing it? Of all the videos on YouTube in general, why would anyone watch this one? And I can't possibly be the only person that has made a video like this or even have these opinions. Nothing in this video statistically can possibly be new, so why bother writing it? What value can I add to the conversation? Everything I know I learned from somewhere else, and I know for a fact that other people have seen those same things. Plus, I feel like it's a bit pretentious to assume that my words hold any more value than the next guy's, and then that's when I give up. In the end, I pushed through to get this video done, and I hope you guys are enjoying, and like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Now on to the next one. Number 5. I hate that I'm unable to mentalize things. I picked up this concept of mentalization from a Dr. K Healthy Gamer video about gender identity issues and autism. In that video, he describes mentalization as the ability to understand the reasoning behind actions done by both others and the individual on an empathic or intrinsic level. He describes people in the spectrum viewing things as social interactions more like math equations, and I agree 100%. I often tell people that all the social skills I have were acquired as raw data. This coming from reading, watching, listening, and of course my own experience. I hate this for a few reasons. The first being that logic can only go so far, and in some cases is not needed at all and kind of makes me appear cold. However, there isn't much more I can offer. The other reason I hate this is because it takes me a bit longer to understand things than the average person. And this isn't an intelligence issue. I'm told quite frequently that I'm pretty damn smart. The reason it takes so long is because I'm needing to rebuild the situation in my head and run the various equations I use to determine how to respond. By the time that this process has finished, someone else may have already stepped in, or the whole thing has passed entirely. I usually feel guilt afterwards because I wanted to help or get involved, but I just simply couldn't move quick enough, or didn't have enough information to respond. And hindsight is unfortunately always 20/20. The final reason I hate this is because I end up asking myself why a lot. The inability to mentalize is the inability to understand the causation behind actions internally. I will often feel emotions but won't know why. Or things will seem pretty sus, but I can't place my finger on what exactly the issue is. I then end up having to go on this inner Tomb Raider adventure to try and uncover the mystery of what the heck just occurred and why I'm feeling the way I am. It's exhausting because it's genuine research, looking things up online, asking people, reflecting, and so on, just to ultimately conclude that the word I've been searching for these past couple of months has been narcissist or something. Months of research just to find something that other people were able to pick up on the moment the incident occurred. I hate it. Number 6, my guys, special interests aren't all that great. They're not awful, don't get me wrong. I think it can be a wonderful experience seeing someone light up talking about something they like. My internal experience is different though. What I hate about having a special interest is that it consumes my every thought. Everything that came out of my mouth for the longest time was either Sonic or Mario. But it didn't stop there. Every song I was listening to, every drawing I did, every reference I made, every shirt I wore, just everything period was somehow linked to Super Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, I still love these franchises, but I feel like I'm being held back. Growing up, and before my diagnosis, I had a lot of people that wanted me to open my mind and try new things. And it took a lot of wrestling with myself and changing my perspective, but I was able to get there. And now, what I have in my hands is a battle. Do I stick to what I know or journey into the unknown like Elsa and try something new? Being autistic means my default is to rely on routine and habit. Stay in the comfy zone. But life doesn't work like that. No risk means no reward. And boy, do I want rewards. I just wish it didn't take so much mental preparation to do some of the required things to get those rewards. results, and I wish my chances weren't lowered by having a slip up and talking about Sonic for the umpteenth time. Number 7. I hate that my autism affects others. I try my absolute best to overcome a lot of my quirks and blend in with my peers socially as much as I can. However, there gets to be a limit, and when that limit hits, sometimes everyone's plans have to change, and I hate that. When I was younger, it looked like having a panic attack and having to step out of wherever I was, meaning my mom or whoever else had to come with me. Sometimes it's hard for others to even begin things in the first place. If you've ever had a spontaneous friend or friends, or perhaps that's you watching, you'll know they like to come up with a last-minute plan, just get in the car and go. I, unfortunately, can't do that. And the result of that is either the plan's not happening or them going without you. I end up feeling terrible either way. I either hate that I stopped them or I'm kicking myself for missing out on something because I couldn't get over myself. Present me will try to push myself to go out and enjoy life, and often I do end up having a good time, but these moments don't happen often, and I honestly feel they're rather tame adventures. I will say that it's easier to cope with things I've already done, but I just feel like there's this idealized, spontaneous personality that I just can't match, and I don't like it. Number 8. I hate that people think they know you. I mentioned at the start of the video that I was so relieved once I got my diagnosis. So much so that I'm fairly open with people about being on the spectrum. I do it as a safety precaution, so if I miss something or start acting strange, my peers will know what's going on and why I may be a little off. However, there are some people that think they know everything about you as soon as you mention you're on the spectrum. That bothers me because I'm more than just my diagnosis. Sure, you may understand the reasoning behind my actions, but don't act like you know me as a person. There are some people that go so far as to say that I'm not even on the spectrum because their research tells them otherwise. Like, when did you become a doctor? But the real kicker with all this is that the box is hard to break from. That's why I was hesitant to even make this video. So to everyone watching, just a gentle reminder that I and other people on the spectrum are still individual people. We have thoughts, feelings, and complexities that are unique to us as individuals. Just because you know we're on the spectrum doesn't mean you got us all figured out. Number 9. I hate not being able to maintain eye contact. There are some social rules that I picked up that place a lot of emphasis on eye contact. When you maintain eye contact with someone, it tells them that you're listening to them, that your full, undivided attention is on them. And reassuring someone with body language like this is just generally wonderful. However, when you're unable to do this, things have a chance to be misinterpreted or completely missed. Before I was diagnosed, people assume I was ignoring them, didn't care what they had to say, or avoiding them or the thing they had to say, which in most cases is not true at all. I'll sometimes try to force myself to make eye contact, but it's hard to maintain because I never know where to look. I often feel like I'm being rude when I can't maintain eye contact, and I worry the person I'm talking to thinks I'm rude too. And finally, number 10. Not everyone has superpowers. I honestly hate this is associated with ASD because I feel like it's become a bit of an expectation from people that don't know better. We're not all Rain Man or the Good Doctor. Hell, we're not even that person that was playing the mobile game in that one TikTok. I know I couldn't do that. For a while I thought my superpower could be playing games at a high level, but I quickly learned that others play harder, better, faster, and stronger than I could ever imagine. I can't think of what other skill that I have that somebody else doesn't surpass me in, and by a lot. I'm as powerless as Midoriya, and there's no All Might in the story to come and fix that. There's an expectation from some that we have superpowers, and it's upsetting that I'm unable to perform, but also annoying that they think that to begin with. Media often portrays this superpower autism as people able to see various graphics floating around you or simply just knowing out of thin air. However, this can be detrimental when all you've ever experienced is hardships, or even just process things differently, and it's put some pressure on the rest of the community to have to do damage control. And that's that. Before we end the video, I would like to take a quick moment to add that being on the autism spectrum isn't all bad, and my intention isn't to paint it as so. However, I think you see the positives quite a bit, and I wanted to share the other side of the coin. I really appreciate everyone that stayed and watched for this long. You guys are the real ones, but as usual, if you liked this video, don't forget to click that like button, and of course subscribe, and hit the bell for more. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later!